Take it back to the beginning. So when you got to Dallas, T, like when you went D Ware, right? You're in your second year. You see because at the time T was a rock star in the league, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So this rock star, he comes in the building, the locker room. You know, you're in the league now. You're confident. You see what's going on in the NFL. But what was that? You know, did he have influence when he came in the locker room? Did he control it? Like, what was that first? The first experience with?
You know what's so crazy? I remember when T.O. first came in. I was just walking into the meeting, and y'all don't understand. Like T.O. used to love a Volkswagen Beetle. Okay? He had a turbo. I think it was a black Volkswagen Beetle, and I remember drove by silver. You know, and you drove by, and I'm like, who the hell got this Beetle?
Had a Beetle, right?
This Beetle. And so he got out. The only thing I saw was Chucks. I saw some Chuck Taylors. Walked in, clean, fly. I was like, okay, that's T.O. So we sat, we got our lockers, you know, everybody got the end caps, you know, all the captains and stuff. He come in, he sit in, and he just chilled, right? He didn't say one word, but he spectated and he got to know everybody. You see what I'm saying? How what groups and everything he gonna get in. Yeah, it is. And then one thing that he did not do on the practice field, he did not talk. He worked. He worked. Like every single thing that he did, he worked harder than anybody. But in the game, that's when he turned it on. The popcorn came out. You see what I'm saying? It was
the pom-poms came out.
Yeah. It's like it was two different things where I'm like, damn, this dude is the hardest worker I ever seen.
Yeah.
Everything. He would catch a little hitch. There's like 5 yards, and he would run full speed, 80 yards, all the way down the field. I said, this dude gotta be tired. He gotta be tired. While I'm getting, it was one of them things, man, where it was like when you see a player, how you should actually practice and play and carry yourself.
Yes.
I was like, I gotta do that. I'm running full speed and practice, tired as hell, trying to wrestle pass against Flozell and all them other dudes out there. But it was one of them things, man, where when he came in, you saw greatness. Like you saw greatness, but it was a quiet greatness amongst us. Where everybody was like, man, is T.O. a bad guy in the locker room? And I'm looking like, have y'all even been in here?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Y'all just seeing what's on the field. You seen Get Your Popcorn Ready. That's what you see. This dude prepared 6 days for the 7th day to give some team hell. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
Week in and week out. So I think it was awesome, man, playing with T.O.
That's cool.
Man, I appreciate you saying. I do appreciate you saying that, and that's why too. Like when I got nominated for the Hall of Fame my first year, all these speculations came out. Not really speculation, but that was one of the main reasons why they say I shouldn't have been in the Hall of Fame, because I had all these locker room issues with my teammates and stuff like that, and those were items that prevented me from being a first ballot Hall of Famer. And so again, it was only the media that pushed that narrative, and it basically just followed me throughout the course of my career. I mean, it started toward the end of my career, middle to the end of my career in San Francisco. And then I went to Philly. There were some, issues that happened with me and Donovan or what have you. But again, those were individual disagreements or what have you. So that really didn't have anything to do with anything that I did on the field. Because when I went on that football field, like DeMarcus said, I practiced hard. And then when I played, it made the game look easy. So that's why I did that, because I learned it in San Francisco, watching some of the greats do it. And so that I instilled that was embedded in me. And so I did it everywhere that I went. So it wasn't anything, like I said, I wasn't one of those guys that talked a lot of trash. If you look at a lot of the highlights, you see a lot of sound bites, this and that and the other, where I'm talking on the sideline. I'm not actually talking trash to guys during the game.
You're talking to yourself.
Exactly. I mean, if I'm gonna talk to anybody, it's gonna be to myself. I'm gonna get my own self hype. I don't need to talk trash to somebody to get me up. Because my thing is, I knew my game. I knew my game was gonna speak loud for me.
D Ware, did you ever get a sack and started feeling yourself, or you started talking to any of the quarterbacks?
You know what, man? I never talked on the football field. I never talked. Like T.O. knew I never talked. I'm too tired. I'm too tired to talk.
That win.
But you knew, though, every single time when I strapped up, I'm going to steal your heart. That was something that no matter what, when I play, I don't care how big you were, who you were, if you're a wide receiver, if you touch these pads that I got on right now, I want you to feel these pads. Because I don't went through hell all this week for this Sunday. I'm going to give it to somebody on Sunday.
This my reward.
This is my reward right here.
Right. I mean, and what he's describing, like he said, when he went out there, he said he didn't talk. He was like, bro, he was like a bear, bro. He's like a gentle bear. But then when you see him and you just watch him play, bro, when you see him come out of the stands, when you talk about horsepower, that's what you saw. As soon as that ball snapped, he came, bro, he was coming off that ball. He was coming. Everyone. The thing is, I admired and I watched those guys because they had an array of moves. You had rip throughs, you have spins, they had everything right to counter what these guys had basically game planned and studied all week. And so that's what's so unique. When, like he said, he was describing like the guys that were in our locker room. Like, bro, we had some stars in that locker room. We had some people that could ball. And so that was so for me, that was so encouraging. And for me to even go to the Cowboys. And as DeMarcus said, I just sat in the room, sat in the locker room or whatever. And everybody in the locker room, you don't necessarily have to get along or like each other. But as long as you're playing and you're playing for the common goal, then that's all that matters. Everybody's not going to go after practice or an after game and chop it up and break bread and be together. But at the end of the day, we're all grown men. We're there to play football. And that's the ultimate goal, is to win games and get to the Super Bowl. And it's unfortunate with the talent that we had that we weren't able to do that.